Man, but everything else is, I think we dodged a bullet that he didn't get elected. Because if he had gone down the path of everything else he had said, Canada would be in big trouble. Hey, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about the forum that they had in for the 9 candidates, or for 9 of the candidates in the by-election in Alberta, where Pierre Poilievre is running to get a seat so he can get back into the cabinet and hopefully retain his leadership of the PC party. Um, I I don't think he's gonna do well. I have a bad feeling. Well, I don't have bad, good, whatever, but I have a feeling he's not gonna do well, and he's not gonna get as many votes as he thinks he's gonna get, and I think this is gonna hurt his leadership, and he has no one to blame but himself. Um, One of the comments that he made during this forum, I don't know if he doesn't know how government works, or if he's just basically trying to get people to focus on the current government and how it's all everything is their fault. Let's take a look and then we'll discuss.
The cause of inflation is government. Cost, yes, very simple. Supply and demand. The government is boosting demand and limiting supply. They're boosting demand through out-of-control immigration and money printing that adds more money and people than new products for them to buy. And they're restricting the supply of things by blocking everything from home building to natural resource development. So what's the solution? We need to cut back on immigration. In fact, we need to have negative population growth for the next several years as more people leave than come. We need to slash bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, corporate welfare, and handouts to fraudulent refugees. And we need to unlock our resources to produce cheap energy and affordable homes. So let's produce more stuff rather than adding more people and more money.
Thank you, Pierre.
Okay, there's a lot there to talk about. Let's get out of the way. Yeah, everybody agrees with corporate welfare, fraud. Everybody hates it. Left, right, center. We can all agree on that. That's got to stop. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, easy. Man, but everything else is, I think we dodged a bullet that he didn't get elected. Because if he had gone down the path of everything else he had said, Canada would be in big trouble. Main thing is negative growth or negative population growth. Recession. You're talking about recession. That's so anytime you have growth in an economy, a lot of it is dealt with in terms of demand. And the demand is when there's population growth, either internally through immigration or a combination of both. But there's a demand because there's an increase, there's a need for more. Now, he's talking about reducing immigration, fine, which has happened right now, but he wants a negative for the next couple of years. You're throwing the country into a recession. What are you talking? What you need is you need to slow down the growth. Allow everybody else, the market, to catch up. You don't want a reversal so that there's over supply of housing, of materials, of workforce or whatnot for the reduced demand of the market. Then you get a recession. Less people, less demand. I'm not like, just you got to slow it down. That's what he should have said. A reversal? Who says that? Nobody. Like, the only person who says that is people who don't understand how a market works. And I'm hoping that it's just him placating to his hardcore followers to say immigration bad, immigrants bad, we got to get rid of them. Because he said more people leaving than coming in. Is that just a bit of a dog whistle, or is that an actual plan that he wants to implement? That is scary. So let's talk about everything else he said. Government's fault for giving people money, which creates inflation. Makes sense, I guess. You know, more money in your pocket, you're going to spend more and want to buy more things. And if a lot of people have more money in their pocket, they're going to buy a lot more things. How much is the government giving? It's not giving everybody, okay? Certain people, depending on your tax bracket, how much you make, how many people, dependents, kids, and everything else, will dictate how much of a refund, child benefit, and everything else that you may get from federal, provincial, local municipalities. Are they getting thousands of dollars a month? Let's say they're getting an extra $1,000 a month. Best case scenario, okay? A family. What are you going to do with that $1,000? You're going to go buy a new car? You're going to go purchase a $3 million home? People who are getting, let's say, $1,000 extra a month are not going out and spending it like they won the lottery. It's for bare essentials, for food, housing, which is a bulk of the cost right now. It's not going to buy more computers, televisions, cars, houses with the extra money the government's giving them. That's not the cause for inflation for housing and food. We'll talk more about the food and the housing and everything else later. But that extra money is not causing air conditioners, furnaces, somebody to come reshingle your roof, all these services, commodities, copper, aluminum, silver, whatever, to go through the roof because extra people have got an extra $1,000 in their account from the government. And then he also said that the government is blocking supply. He talks about housing. Again, he said this before. Does he not understand how government works? The federal government has nothing to do with housing. Yes, I understand you're going to say, but Romulo, too many immigrants, put a lot of strain on the housing market and rental market. Yes, agreed, 100%. But even just here in Ontario, the Ontario government is not reaching its goal of how many houses it needs to build every year, even though it's supposedly reduced red tape. And a lot of municipalities and cities have done the same thing. Builders aren't building because it's too expensive in our area. And then specific areas where people want to move. Again, I've said this before. There's certain areas that are expensive because that's where everybody wants to move. If you go outside the GTA, outside the horseshoe, houses are cheaper. Not everybody wants to move there though, because it's not the ideal area. They think about resale on the value of the homes and so on and so forth. So anyways, I digress. But the federal government has nothing to do with the amount of housing. That's provincial and municipalities. And the natural resources, they also said, we gotta open up natural resources. Agreed. But again, it's not just the federal government. You've got the indigenous that have got the natural resources rights, so it's up to them to develop it or make deals with companies. And then you've got also, again, provincial. The provinces, provincial lands, they have control over the natural resources. So it's up to the provinces to develop that. Now, we're doing it. Technically, Canada, a lot of provinces are putting resources to develop natural resources. The LNG compressing plant over in BC. Now we're shipping liquid natural gas. Him and Daniel Smith should be celebrating, doing a dance of joy. But do they understand too there's an unintended consequence? I did a video on this a few weeks ago where natural gas prices here in Canada are set to rise 15% this year and another 17% in 2026 because we're now able to supply it to markets that pay more for it. What do you think is going to happen with the natural resources, copper, silver, whatever they wanted to, wood. I know we're having an issue with the US, but what happens if we're able to bring it to other markets, open up a shipping lane to ship our softwood to other markets that can use it for building? More demands, and we only have so much supply. It's going to go up. That's free markets. So this idea that it's all on the federal government is bullshit. And he knows that. Now, let's talk about inflation. As he's stating, it's a lot more people with a lot more money in their pocket because it's all these immigrants that supposedly come in illegally, skirting the system, and then the government gives them money, and then they go and spend it, and then of course, like, reducing the supply of housing. Again, we talked about it's not the federal government; it's all provincial municipalities. But this idea that just because they've given them people money, now they've got extra money, it's increased the demand and there's limited supply. That's the only reason why inflation happens. It's just because the government gives money to people and therefore costs go up? No, come on. Let's look at this. So here's a list of the grocery stores that I have access to, basically, here in Canada and Ontario. Basically, they're all owned by 3 major players. What choice am I going to have? Like, I have choices, but what actual competition choice is there? Does it show? Absolutely none. Do you not think that the owners of these companies, on the board members, that they don't all go to the same country club, golf course, the kids go to the same schools, private schools, that they don't talk to each other, that they don't converse on to manipulate prices so that it gives the illusion that the customers that go to these stores actually are getting the best deal? Come on now, let's be serious. There's no competition. These 3 players bought everybody. And when you have no competition, you don't have choice. And when you don't have choice, there's no choice in terms of getting the best price. You've eliminated choice. You eliminated supply, as Pierre would say, because they control it. They control all the supplies. Now here, what do we have here? These are all the manufacturers and labels of all the products you would find in those grocery stores. Again, all owned under a handful of major corporations. Not a lot of people understand that when they go to the grocery store, down one aisle, there's maybe 2 major players that own all those products in one aisle. So this idea where, if you're going to get a box of cookies, one does Oreos, another one does an off-brand of Oreos, another one does something like an Oreo cookie, but they're all made by the same company. So they're giving the illusion that you've got choice, or you've got choice for a better price for the product. Again, they all go to the same country club. The kids all go to the same private school. They all go to the same events. They all talk. They all have control over the product and the supply of it. So this is the reason why we have inflation. This is a typical politician redirecting people's angers toward a group of people that have no control and no power over nothing. If he really wanted change, he would be targeting these corporations, and they would draw up some sort of legislation for an anti-competition. They were split up some of these companies so they're not owning, for example, the grocery stores, 33% of the markets, and they all share it between 3 major owners. That's why things cost them what they cost. Not because of the federal government indirectly just giving money. It's these companies controlling the market and making it look like you have choice when you don't. So this idea that they're restricting supply is all BS. I think people are waking up to this. I think people, every time he talks, are kind of like, yeah, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And I don't think he's gonna get the votes. I don't think he's gonna get he's gonna win, 100%. He's gonna win, but I don't think he's gonna win with the votes he thinks he's gonna get. And he doesn't deserve the leadership of the PC party. And I hope the caucus sees this, and I think they are. And he's nervous. He's very nervous because if it was a sure thing, he wouldn't have been at this forum. It would have been a waste of his time. But he actually showed up. He actually showed up with these other 9 candidates that don't have a chance in hell to win, and he's talking with them. He's showing up. He's involved. Think about it. A politician, a household name like himself, showing up with guys like this, ladies and gentlemen like this? No, he's in trouble. And he knows it. Well, that's it for me. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you do believe that it's the federal government, tell me why. Like, actually explain to me what they have done, besides the talking points that Pierre has said, what they have done to contribute to inflation. That these companies haven't done their parts. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk later. Take care, guys.